All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar. Sorry, I'm just starting a minute late. This is allergy season for me. I literally just was sneezing. That's what took me a little bit longer to start the webinar. Anyway, I'm going to make this one relatively quick. I don't think I'm going to be covering anything that's hasn't been covered already today. First and foremost, you can see the Euro's really testing the 117 level. It's a really big support. Do I think the Euro is going to break lower here? I do, and I think that's going to fuel further dollar gains across the board. But you have to be a little careful because we're obviously trading at 117. I don't know if it's going to break right now or by the end of the session. You could argue that some other currency pairs aren't really moving, but equities are stagnant at the moment. So that's one of the reasons why the market's kind of quiet. The rest of the market, but you are seeing like the euro dollar is coming under pressure, and like I said, we are attacking really key support here. Do I feel comfortable being short the euro right at this moment? Not at this moment, but I wouldn't mind taking a shot at it if we can get a bounce back towards like the 117.30 level. Maybe I might be willing to take a little bit of a pop shot at it. But take a look at the cable. The cable's at the 200-day moving average, and we have this bear flag that's setting up. And the bear flag points to 125, maybe even lower towards 124. 125 is the 78% retracement of this move here. And I'm really surprised we're back down at the 127 level, actually. I mean, we were there in Europe. We bounced we bounced 170 pips and then gave it all back. That's pretty astonishing to me. Right, it really is. The Aussie dollar is trading weak, and we're at channel support. So if you think about the dollar, and if the euro is going to go, look at what might happen to the Aussie. The Kiwi's got this double top. The dollar Canadians, got this inverted head and shoulder pattern that, is just aching to rally. And you might say, well, Blake, how come we haven't rallied here in the dollar Canadian? I think a lot of it has to do with stocks. Look at the S&P. We're flat on the day. Same with the NASDAQ. Slightly higher, but basically flat on the day. So we don't have a lot of participation in other markets. So, to be fair, the dollar Canadian just sitting here makes a lot of sense. Plus, it's this previous support from June. We're just testing it. So, but if you think about like the dollar, if the euro breaks down and the cable breaks down and the Aussie starts to break through this channel, the Kiwi ignites this double top, then you have the Canadian breaks through this resistance, the dollar Mexican peso, 200-day moving average would break through channel resistance. There's a lot of stuff that can actually happen all at once with these currencies. So I'm really looking at the whole market, the dollar moving, and you got to pick your poison. Obviously you might say, well, I'd rather short the euro than the cable, or I'd rather short the cable than the Aussie or whatever. But if they all break at once, that's, for me, that is probably the most powerful thing when they all move at once, especially in the dollar, because the dollar's so heavily traded. So the outlier could be the dollar yen, but the dollar yen is actually stalling right at previous supports, acting as current resistance. But if I had to guess what the dollar yen is going to do here, and if you're in the chat rooms, you already know that I shorted a little dollar yen at 05. I don't think I'm going to stay short though, because I think what's going to happen here is you're going to have the dollar move across the whole spectrum, and you're going to see a pullback in the dollar yen and then a spike up towards 106. We got this false breakdown here. So Jason asks, hey Blake, do I have any thoughts on the throne speech coming out of Canada tomorrow, hearing that it could really impact the CAD? I haven't, and you know what? I haven't read any analysis on it either from banks, but I'll look into it this evening, Jason, and then I will get back to you on the face webinar tomorrow morning. I'll see if I can dig around a little bit and find some more info on the Canadian. But thank you for the heads up. And then one currency that's already kind of moving is the US dollar, Norwegian krona. I mean, this thing's, you know, strengthening already, and it looks vicious. Like it can blast up towards 960, maybe 980 again. I mean, the dollar in the dollar all the way around looks like we could squeeze. I mean, we are at 94 on the dollar index, and you know, looks like we could get to 94.60, maybe even as high as 95.60 in the coming weeks ahead. Like the argument that I gave you guys on the face webinar, think about it. The dollar is just unwinding some shorts. You know, the stock market has, you know, likely peaked in the near term. And so as stocks, you know, push back towards the, let's say, the 200-day moving average over the course of the next week or two, you know, the likelihood of seeing dollar strength as you get some dollar shorts that kind of, you know, cover them up makes a lot of sense to me. All right. Other than that, you know, just be on guard, guys, for the dollar movement. Be on guard. Ernest says, please let me know when I could go long the euro. Thank you. Well, I mean, I don't, you know, I look at the euro, Erna, and there's three places that I'm looking. 116, 115, or 114. And where it stops probably has more to do with what's happening with equities than anything else. And so I can't really make that judgment call at the moment. But, you know, as the euro pulls back, especially if we get towards 115, that's ultimately where I've been wanting to be long. So I'm sure I'll start sticking out some feelers out there. You know, that's when I'll probably buy like a third down at 115, you know, buy a little bit more below 115, something like that, you know, depending on where equities are at. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking with the euro dollar, because I do think the euro is going higher. I do believe we're going above 120 eventually. But again, you know, if the S&P, you know, drops the 200-day moving average and finds support, which I'm assuming it will, that's great. Then we should get that. But if, like, let's say the stock market completely implodes for whatever reason, you know, election, whatever, we trade down to 2,700, the euro might actually trade down to 112, you know? So again, I think it's more hinged on what happens with equities versus anything else. All right. Amira asked for gold and silver. Yeah, we can talk about gold really quick, and we'll just reference them both really fast, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Gold is at 1,900. I think gold's going to correct towards the 1,800, maybe even 1,700. But the problem with that is if it does happen, then we're talking about, you know, big, you know, false breakouts on weekly charts, and you know, that gets me a little nervous about gold in general. Silver's, you know, we broke this triangle and we're consolidating. I think silver, you know, drops back to 20, frankly. You know, are we going down there right now? Probably not in a straight line, but I would be approaching precious metals with more of a bearish bias at this point. All right. Hey guys, if you haven't signed up for the Trader Summit, make sure you do so. It's going to be a massive event. We are running very low on seats, like where you can sit. So you make sure you register. Okay. All right, guys, have a great one. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support of ForexAnalytix. For those of you that aren't logged in live, listening in, and you're listening to this after the fact, we have a great special that we're running right now. So make sure you take advantage of it. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Thanks everybody.